Okay, how's it going, everybody? We're going to read some more Karl Marx today. This is a letter to Joseph Weidemeyer, or if that's a German name, it's Weidemeyer. This is called Social Classes in America. He sent it in 1852. He sent it from London on March 5th, 1852. So, this is Social Classes in America. Let's go ahead and get into this. How far bourgeois society in the United States still is from being mature enough to make the class struggle obvious and comprehensible is most strikingly proved by C.H. Carey of Philadelphia, the only American economist of importance. He attacks Ricardo, the most classic representative interpreter of the bourgeoisie and the most stoical adversary of the proletariat, as a man whose works are an arsenal for anarchists, socialists, and all the enemies of the bourgeois order of society. He reproaches not only him, but Malthus, Mill, Say, Torrens, Wakefield, McCulloch, Sr., Whately R. Jones, and others, the masterminds among the economists of Europe, with rending society asunder and preparing civil war because they show that the economic bases of the different classes are bound to give rise to a necessary and ever-growing antagonism among them. He tried to refute them, not indeed like the fatuous Heinzen, but by connecting the existence of classes with the existence of political privileges and monopolies, but by attempting to make out that economic conditions, rent, landed property, profit, capital, and wages, wage labor, instead of being conditions of struggle and antagonism, are rather conditions of association and harmony. All he proves, of course, is that he is taking the, quote, undeveloped conditions of the United States for, quote, normal conditions, end quote. And now, as to myself, no credit is due to me for discovering the existence of classes in modern society or the struggle between them. Long before me, bourgeois historians had described the historical development of this class struggle, and bourgeois economists the economic anatomy of the classes. What I did that was new was to prove, 1, that the existence of classes is only bound up with particular historical phases in the development of production, 2, that the class struggle necessarily leads to the dictatorship of the proletariat, 3, that this dictatorship itself constitutes only the transition to the abolition of all classes and to a classless society. Ignorant louts like Heinzen, who deny not merely the class struggle, but even the existence of classes, only prove that, despite all their blood-curdling yelps and the humanitarian airs they give themselves, they regard the social conditions under which the bourgeoisie rules as the final product, the non plus ultra of history, and that they are only the servitors of the bourgeoisie. And the less these louts realize the greatness and transient necessity of the bourgeois regime itself, the more disgusting is their servitude. Okay, yeah, so that's Karl Marx to Joseph Weidemeyer. That's Social Classes in America. Well, thank y'all for, tuning in. It's kind of interesting him saying what he did was new. Marx, I haven't seen Marx necessarily acknowledge himself like that. I mean, I've seen him quote his own self and also just different things he says, but this is why he talked about what he did that was new. He acknowledges what he did there was new. That's kind of interesting, I've never seen him acknowledge. It's always just been his writings and him talk about what he said, maybe in response to a critic. But I've never seen him say, "This is what I did that was new," and him acknowledge that. I've only heard other people do that, like Frederick Engels, talk about Marx that way. So, well, thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Medium, Tumblr, all of these Marxists. Also, YouTube, where you're hearing this. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's obviously Marxist. So, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great day, and Dodata Goi.